You guys, I'm in labor. Not right this second, but if you're watching this and I made this video live, that means we're at the hospital having the baby. And that is so exciting to me. I don't know if I did a video like this with Genevieve, my first kiddo. I don't remember. But this one we're gonna do Get Ready With Me style because I polled you guys on Instagram and the majority of you guys wanted to see it because I was like, I can just like chat. But I also love makeup and a lot of you guys do too. So I was like, well, I need to get ready for the day. I could just combine the two. So anyway, here we are. I don't know how this is gonna go down. As of right now, I'm 38 weeks pregnant. I'll show you the bump, although I just got a Starbucks, you guys. We get it like maybe twice a month, maybe 3 times. One of my favorite treats in the world. Spilled mine. I posted all about it on Instagram and then literally my belly bumped it off and the whole thing spilled. And I'm like, that was the most expensive 3 sips of coffee I've ever had. Anyway, but why was I telling you that? I got my bump here. Of course, this is like a big old sweater, but my 38-week bump. So I just put on the LYS Secure Skin Gripping Serum Primer. I forget that I have this. It's a really good like gripping primer if you're into that. I just literally forget it exists. So our plan is to have a C-section at 39 weeks. So if you've watched any of my vlogs, we've shared this whole journey. She is breech. And so we first learned she was breech at, why is this one not? Ooh, that got right in my mouth. I hope my dentist isn't watching. Don't open stuff with your teeth. This might be too dark. Oh my gosh, no, that would work for my sister. I was trying to do the Milani Glow skin tint. I thought this was the shade I'd already opened, and now I know it's not, but also that it's way wrong. Hey, let's try on a new one, why not? The Tower 28, this is the SPF 30 Mineral Tinted Sunscreen. I have not tried this yet. I got it in 15 Melrose. We're gonna see. Oh, this might actually be really a decent match for me. That would be great. Wait, this is actually really pretty. I figured I might like it. I don't know why I was dragging my feet on trying it, but it actually has a little bit of coverage. I thought it would have like none, and I think that's probably why I was dragging my feet on it. Anyway, so we found that out at 32 weeks. They did an ultrasound, which really if you're pregnant, you get your ultrasound like maybe at the beginning of your pregnancy, at 20 weeks for your anatomy scan, and then that's usually it. But because we had some issues with Genevieve the first time around, we got 2 extra ultrasounds at 32 and 36 weeks. So at 32 weeks, they scanned and we're like, oh, she's head down. And my doctor was like, not a big deal, you know, we'll check again at 36 weeks and see if she's still breech, in which case we may need to talk about options. But for now, you know, there's stretches you can do that might help. And she even mentioned chiropractic care. She's like, I don't know. I've had patients that it's worked for and some it hasn't. If you want to try it, you certainly can, you know. So I sought out chiropractic care in like this specific technique called the Webster technique. I mean, quite frankly, it's helped a lot with other things. Like I usually have way worse hip pain and it's really helped with a lot of other things, but so far it hasn't quite worked on flipping this sweet baby. So long story short, at our 36-week appointment, we have the vlog I can link above. We genuinely thought she had flipped. It's such a roller coaster, that vlog. And so I'm going into the ultrasound thinking like, this is great. They're going to confirm that she's flipped. Like the chiropractor thought she'd flipped too. And maybe she had and she'd flipped back. I don't know, y'all. That's the reality. I'll never know. Regardless, they were like, yeah, she's still breech. I'm like, okay. So our next step was, do we want to just schedule a C-section at 39 weeks? That is pretty much par for the course for breech births. Or do we want to try something called a version? And basically it's an ECV, external cephalic version, where they basically try to flip the baby, that your doctor will, by literally manually moving it. So they do it in a hospital setting. You've got an IV, just in case if anything were to go wrong. It's a very small percentage. But if anything were to go wrong, they can whisk you away for an emergency C-section right then and there. So you're in the right spot, which, you know, makes it seem a little scarier. But the, you know, like I said, the data there is, it's a very small percentage of anything that goes wrong. So, okay, this is freaking beautiful. I might put this in my hospital bag. I had my Purito BB cream, but like it matches my skin really well. What in the heck? Why had I not tried this? If you're near my skin tone, 15 Melrose is the shade, man. I'm glad I just randomly was like, I guess I'll just try this. That's so good. Okay. And it has SPF 30, but of course, like I would put an SPF like I did today, an SPF underneath it too. I'm gonna use the Neutrogena Radiant Cream Concealer. So we opted to get this version and it was yesterday. The day I'm filming it, it was yesterday. Y'all, I had done so much research on this by the time I went in, but I felt really like at ease. I'm like, this is gonna be great. It's worth a shot. The success rate is 50%. So I'm like, it either works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then we know she's meant to be breech. There's a reason she's still breech. You know what I mean? There may be something going on in there, and maybe a C-section really is the best way. We go in, and Tyler, of course, is with me, and we get all ready and IV'd up, and eventually my doctor comes in, and they give you this drug that, well, it's a shot that relaxes your uterus. So that way, you know, it's a little bit easier for the doctor to maneuver the baby within it. So got that. She does the thing, and it hurt so much more than I thought. And I'm doing all my, you know, like all the things, all the breathing things. And they're like, you're doing a great job breathing. And I'm like, I feel like I'm in labor right now. Like the pain was so much greater than I thought. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because she really wasn't meant to be moved. And that's why, because I've heard other people that get it and it was successful and they're like, it was like, it felt like pressure. That's all. I'm like, that did not feel like pressure to me. And so my doctor was great about listening to me. And she was like, where is it hurting the most? And I'm telling her, and we tried 3 different times. And at one point she got the baby like halfway down. And then I told her, I'm like, I think I have a pretty high tolerance for pain. I really do. I literally was like at that breaking point where I was like, you have to stop. And what I prayed about before I went in there was, please let me know if this is not the right thing to do, or to know when to tell her to stop. Because if there was something going on in there, you know, they do an ultrasound before and make sure everything's okay. Long story short, it was not what I thought. So finally, after the 3rd try, she said, I usually don't try more than 3 times because at this point, and so I was like, good, because I was going to tell you to stop. So we stopped, and so she said, well, you know, you guys can talk about it. Your options would be, of course, you know, do you want to schedule the C-section? And I was like, yes. I did not want to try to do a vaginal breech birth. Like, that's not something I am interested in trying. It's just not. So here we are. But the thing that I was telling Tyler about last night, I'm like, you know what? I really was fighting against this. And I know so many of you guys are watching this right now and you're like, Jessica, I had a C-section and it was great. Or I know some of you guys had ones that maybe were more like emergency and you were like, it was terrifying, blah, blah, blah. But so many people have such positive experiences with C-sections, including some of my closest friends and family members. I don't know why I was fighting it so much in my head. I don't know if it's because I'd already had a vaginal birth, and with that, I know what to expect. So I'm like, well, that's what to expect then, you know? But of course, anything can happen in a pregnancy. I mean, good, bad, and the ugly, anything can happen. That's the reality of pregnancy. I don't know how any of us survive it because it is so anxiety inducing just with the knowledge that anything can happen at any point, good and bad. My point in saying that is once I did this version and it didn't work, and then we went to McDonald's because you had to fast for it and that sucked. I told him, I don't know, I think the fasting was worse than the pain, but no, the pain was worse. But anyway, so we're in the McDonald's parking lot. He's drinking a Shamrock shake. I'm drinking a vanilla shake. We got our Big Macs. I'm a happy 9-month pregnant lady. And I was like, you know what? If the one thing that came from this was that I feel totally at peace and confident that the C-section is exactly what we're supposed to do, like that is exactly how I felt after that. And so I'm like, maybe that is what I personally needed. What sucks is that I literally, it hurts, like where she was holding the head and the butt down below. Ooh, I'm like, I wonder if that's gonna bruise, but it did not feel good. So I'm glad I did it for that reason alone. We know for sure we've done everything we possibly could, and that's cool. My best friend got a C-section recently, and she was like, honestly, it was great. So I'm picking her brain and asking her tons of questions, and so, you know, leave me your best tips and stuff, although at this point I probably already had the C-section. Now, the other reality is, I've been trying to tell you guys what I'm using, the e.l.f. Wow Brow, always. You know I have one of those in my hospital bag. Let me use this. This is the e.l.f. cookies and, no, it's not what it's called. Cream and sugar, bite size. I love this freaking stuff. Really, this shade. I just get this shade and put it all over and it looks so pretty. We have the date set. Hopefully this is going live on the date, so I guess we'll see if it all went according to plan. But of course, the reality is I could, in theory, go into labor at any time, and we'd know it would most likely be a C-section nonetheless. It'd just be a little less planned because, you know, it's not on the day we planned. So that is one reality. This might be going live sooner than I think. It could go live tonight for all I know, you know. So that is the plan. We'll see what actually happens. Of course, there's also, I even asked her, I was like, okay, if I go in on the day of the scheduled C-section that morning and they do an ultrasound in the triage room and they realize, oh, the baby's flipped and she's no longer breech. I was like, what do we do? Like, you certainly don't still go through with the C-section if we don't need it. If that was the only reason I was getting the C-section, she said, right, we would just probably induce the baby then. Like, You know, at that point, we've already got the hospital slot. You're already there. We've got our toddler with the, you know, grandparents. We got Pinocchio in the right spot. So she said we would just at that point just induce regularly, which I was induced with Genevieve at 41 weeks because that girl would not come out. Although I do think I was induced truly at 41 weeks, I think like on the dot. And she came so quickly, like it was only a matter of hours after they started the Pitocin that I think we would have gone into labor with her that night anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like I think the timing just worked. Because a lot of times you hear about induction stories and it takes a while because your body wasn't quite ready and you get there. But I think in this case, she was going to come out that night either way. So anyway, that is the plan. I'm sure so much will veer from it, but that's kind of where we're at. And I feel really good about it. So thank you guys for your encouragement along the way and in all forms of it, because you guys have been just so lovely throughout this whole process. So kind of going back in time a little bit, because I've gotten a lot of questions about you guys and like, you know, our trying to conceive journey. With Genevieve, our first, we kind of hit a point where we were like, all right, we're just gonna throw caution to the wind and see what happens. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that you do. And so that was kind of our decision. We were like, we would like to have a kid. Let's just try. And in that case, we got pregnant literally that first month. So then I'm thinking, you know, I'm like overconfident and I'm like, well, maybe it's just easy for us. No, that was pure stroke of luck because literally with this one, it took almost a year. And we were getting to the point where we were like, okay, if we get to that year mark, we're going to talk to someone and see, you know, kind of get checked out, see if there's something deeper going on with one of us that might be causing us to not be able to get pregnant. So we were almost at that point when we happened to get pregnant with her and we were both so overjoyed. And, you know, the one beautiful thing about that is, if for any of you guys watching that are trying, is that when hopefully you do eventually either get pregnant or you decide to adopt or have a surrogate or whatever your journey looks like, the love you'll have for your future baby is going to grow with every passing month. And not that I don't love Genevieve, I mean, that girl is my world. But I think the wanting and the trying for it for longer makes it even not more special, but like differently special. Because I just know that this is something we wanted. This sweet girl is someone we wanted so badly to be in our lives. And so I think there's a beauty to it. It's obviously hard. And for those that have been trying longer, if you're watching, I pray for anyone that's been trying for a long time and desperately wants a kid, because that just absolutely tugs at my heart. But yeah, so eventually we did get pregnant and we were so, I guess I don't need to do like a full-on liner and just do that a little bit. So overjoyed, and we didn't find out it was a girl until our anatomy scan. I don't really know why I didn't do the blood test you can do to find out whether it was a boy or girl. I just remember at the time being like, no, we don't need to do that. And then like, I'm like, why didn't I do it? By the time I'm like 18 weeks, 19 weeks, I'm dying to know. I'm like, why didn't I just do it? So I think if we had a third kid, I think I would find out with the blood test, because 20 weeks is a long time to wait and it's just exciting, you know? But yeah, another girl. So we've got two girls. We'll share her name. I'm sure I'll post about it on Instagram at some point. And I'm sure I'll post it here on the YouTube community tab as well once I post. So we love the name. It was not a name that was on our radar at all the first go round. So if you've watched that video, I might have privatized it, of baby names we love but aren't using. I don't think it was one we mentioned because it really was not one either of us had ever thought of, but it's absolutely perfect for this baby. It really is, and I am just overjoyed that we landed on it finally. It took us a while to get to that point, so it's just kind of nice. So the other thing I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys is, and I've been very vocal about the postpartum depression I had after Genevieve. I suffered from it though for like a year and a half, 2 years before I actually finally spoke to my doctor about it. That is awful. That's why I talk about it a lot, because I'm like, y'all, please just talk to your doctor. It took me 5 minutes when I finally did it, and it changed my life. Like, I don't think I would have wanted a second kid if I couldn't get past that. I was like, how could I do this again? And so in the end, I was put on an antidepressant, a really low dose, and it changed everything for me. Everything, you guys. And I didn't have to be on it long term. I think I was on it for like 6 months. And then he was like, let's try you off of it and see. And I was fine. And so I have already talked to him, my primary care doctor. That's who I'd originally prescribed it. But I've also already talked to my OB, and she and him have both said, you can start taking it right away. Like if you want to, and even in pregnancy, people suffer from, and this is really not talked about a lot, pregnancy depression. That's not, what are they, perinatal? Because it can be like at any point in the pregnancy and after. That's a real thing too, that people suffer from. And so, you know, there are certain antidepressants that are safer than others. You do your own research and talk to your doctor, but that's a real thing too. And so she was saying, I haven't felt that at all during the pregnancy, but I know what's on the other side. And so I have decided to go ahead and get the prescription filled, have it. It takes like a week or two to kick in, but I don't know that I'm going to start taking it day one postpartum. I think I might wait a bit because baby blues are normal the first few weeks, but it's when it just keeps going, that's not normal. And I kept doubting. I'm like, well, maybe I'll wait a little longer and and then freaking 24 months pass or whatever. And anyway, enough on that. If you're watching this and you just had a baby, especially if like a month or two has passed and you're still feeling it, you probably have postpartum depression. Just talk to someone. Talk to your doctor, find a doctor, talk to your OB. If you feel awkward talking about it in person, a lot of doctors have, especially if you work, like if you're going to a big network, a lot of them have like an inbox you can like chat and send a message to your doctor. That's exactly how this ball got rolling for me because I felt way more comfortable behind a keyboard than I did, you know, not behind a keyboard. Okay, so that was the Bite Beauty Upswing mascara. And then the liner was my Makeup by Mario brown liner. This is the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil, just like the translucent. It's pretty good on the under eye. So I've done a lot of videos of like, I did a pregnancy must-haves video sharing like very specific things that worked really well for me in pregnancy, whether it was for my nausea, and this was the first pregnancy I had that, things that actually worked, because y'all, I'm telling you, I bought and tried everything. I finally found some things that actually worked, so check that video out. I'm telling you, it's worth a shot. Take it from me, the one who tried everything. But I've also done a video of baby products I regretted buying the first time around, and what I'm buying this time instead, or what I have bought at this point. That was a lot of you guys liked that video, and it took me a long time to plan, but I'm really proud of it. So definitely check that out if you're in that season of life right now, or I don't know, maybe you're buying stuff for someone else. This is the Flower Beauty Heat Wave Luminous Bronzer. I freaking love this, but this is in the cooler tone that I just got in Sunrise. I really like it. Oh, and I'm still enjoying the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation, so I'm gonna throw a little of that just like in my T-zone. But I also did what's in my hospital bag. So if you want to see the specific, like what going home outfit, and most of it's from Target and Amazon, like the whole video, most of it's from Target and Amazon, but like specific things that I'm bringing and why, and you know, this is my second time. A little different with the C-section, so there are a few different things I might adjust, and I will take, well, I was gonna say, I'll take recommendations, but again, if you're watching this, it's happening, so too late, baby. I feel very prepared, which almost makes me nervous in a weirder way because, you know, I know what postpartum is like, and it's hard, and you're so freaking tired, and you know, if you're going through it, you know. But I'm just so excited because our viewpoint is so different this time around than it was the first time around. I don't think you're ever ready, and you can be told a million times what to expect, and it's still gonna be harder than you think. But I look back on those times too, and it makes me smile because I'm like, gosh, we've grown and learned so much. And I look at this sweet 3, almost 4-year-old kid, and I'm like, I can't believe we raised you from that point to here. I can't believe we survived. But I'm just so excited to do it all again. And, you know, it's a healthy amount of nerves as well. But I'm just so excited. We are so freaking excited to meet her. And I think one thing that's really transformed my feelings this whole time around is that Tyler is so much, I mean, he was really excited for Genevieve. I mean, but again, we didn't really know what to expect and how it would change our lives so much. And now that he knows, he is so amped about meeting this little girl. He is so excited to have 2 little girls. He is a total girl dad. I mean, and he embraces it and loves it, and it is so sweet. It's so sweet, and it just makes me fall in love with him even more, and I'm not gonna get emotional. Y'all, I almost got emotional about the coffee spilling everywhere. I'm at that point, you know? I told Tyler today, I'm like, I'm at the point where we were eating some like chicken and stuff for lunch, and I looked at the plate, and I was like, that's not gonna be enough food. That is not gonna be enough food to fill me up right now. That is the point of pregnancy that I'm at. Anyway, let's do some lips. It's such a simple look, but we're just kind of working around here today, and I don't need to do a super glam. Not that I ever really do a super glam look, but oh, that was the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. And then the blush was the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur and Coral Cloud. I love, like, this is such a pretty spring, summer, And it's kind of a cream to powder. So I like it with a stippling brush like this e.l.f. one. It's really good. This is the NARS Satin Lip Pencil in Expiry. Honestly, I need to sharpen it. I also need to wipe off my lip balm. Y'all have been watching me with that weird white ring around my lips, and you didn't say anything? Gross. The other thing, and I talked about this in a coffee chat video recently, that I've learned since the first time around, I have just grown up a lot. And I can't decide if that's genuinely like motherhood or if that's just, now I'm 33. Like I've just grown up more, since having her. How old was I when I had her? 29? You grow up a lot. And of course, having a kid does force you to grow up in other ways too. I just think it helps to go through this with so much more confidence than I had the first time around. I'm amazed. Like my sister has 5 kids and they got married younger than we did and had, of course, kids younger than we did. And I'm just amazed. I'm like, I can't imagine. So kudos to you if you were someone that had babies younger. I don't know how you survive it. Like I remember thinking like, okay, I'm 29, almost 30. Like, why is this so hard for me? People 10 years younger than me, even more, do this and do it well. Like, and I think that's normal. Like when you're a parent, you just second guess everything you do. You think, I'm certainly screwing this kid up. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why isn't there a more adultier adult here to help me? Yeah, I just think the confidence level right now is a lot better. I always get so much makeup in my hair, So I feel like this video made no sense. Let me check. I'd written some notes out. I wanted to make sure I kind of like touched on all these things. I think I hit everything I really wanted to. We've got our bags packed as of right now, so of course we're bringing them. And I feel like when I was going into packing my hospital bag, I was like, I'm gonna pack a lot less than last time. I probably did pack maybe a little less than last time, but now that I know, I might go back in and really look at it knowing that I'm getting a C-section, most likely, because I feel like I might look at it with a different lens and think, okay, I actually should bring in another pair of these and take these out. And you know what I mean? There are just some concessions you might make, but I still want to have enough so in case we do go in and we do end up doing it vaginally, that I want to make sure I've got what I need. So there's that, but I think we feel as ready as we can be. We're the nursery's as ready as it can be. There's always little things I'm thinking like, oh, I should label this and label that. But the other reality is I know that when we get home with the sweet girl, there's a lot of, I'm going to call it downtime. You're tired and you're probably napping during that downtime, etc. But there's a lot of downtime where the baby is sleeping that you could, have an hour where you're like, okay, I'm just going to sit with some coffee and like label this drawer of clothes. I don't know. So, because I feel like we'd gotten everything done ahead of time with Genevieve. And so then we were just like staring at each other with this baby like, what do we do? No, I don't remember actually being bored during that time because there was always dishes to be done, laundry, etc. But you know what I mean. So that's everything. I'm excited and nervous for what is to come and what's happening right now as you're watching this. It's just so crazy to think about. And it's not that far away from the day I'm filming this. So that's even weirder to think about, It's also crazy to know that like as I'm reading comments from you guys down below, by then I will know how this story panned out. So that's kind of fun. So if you'd be interested in hearing kind of a birth story-ish type, probably get ready with me. I don't know that we're gonna like vlog in the hospital. I mean, we'll get video and pictures for ourselves, but I don't know that we're gonna. I think we're gonna keep some of that private just because, it's our own little family. But I certainly do enjoy sharing, obviously, with you guys certain things. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing an update video. I've also gotten a lot of requests to see like, okay, hospital bag, what did I actually use? So I don't know if I would intertwine that with the video, birth story video, or if I do it separate. We'll kind of see. I might do it separate. But I'm also taking some time out. Oh, that was the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. So maternity leave, I don't know. I'm obviously going to take some time off. I mean, duh. But I have slated to take 2 full months off. Like I don't have any sponsorships. I don't, within that time frame. So I don't feel like there are certain deadlines I need to hit. So for me, that opens up the doors where if I 3 weeks postpartum just feel like sitting down and chatting with you guys and getting ready together, I can do that. But I don't feel that I have to do something by a certain date in those 2 months. So we'll see how long it takes me to miss YouTube. I'm sure it will be pretty quick because I enjoy doing this. And this is something I can feasibly do a couple weeks postpartum and just catch up with you guys. But I also might be like, no, forget it. I want 6 full weeks or 8 full weeks. So we'll see. I do have some stuff, of course, pre-filmed that you'll be seeing going up. which obviously would have been pre-baby. But, you know, beyond that, that's kind of where that sits. So we'll see. And I would imagine I'll still post on Instagram. So again, it's Jessica Braun. I'll definitely be posting on my Instagram stories there because that is something that's really easy to do on the fly and I enjoy. I do want to share, you know, with you guys. So anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching and joining me in this journey. Again, if you want to watch any of my baby pregnancy videos that I mentioned, I will link it below. I think I've got a playlist you can check out, but I can link the videos separately too if you just want to watch one and not the other. So thank you guys. I hope you'll subscribe and stick around for our next little phase of our life here, and I'll see you guys in our next one. Mine, you know what I mean, my next one.